Have you ever wondered about how your body works? Today, we'll talk about muscles. Muscle consists of fibers of muscle cells surrounded by protective tissue. Group of muscle tissues which contract together to produce a force. Uses ATP to contract and shorten. But how do muscles work? They work in series of muscle contraction and relaxation. Skeletal muscles are constructed like a rope made of bundles of protein fibers, and at the smallest strands are the actin and myosin myofilaments. It's their use of calcium and ATP that causes the binding and unbinding that makes sarcomeres contract and relax. Further in this video, we will describe the components involved in a muscle contraction, describe the sliding filament model of muscle contraction, explain how muscle contract and relax.
Our body consists of bones, nerves, and muscles that allows us to move freely. These muscles consist of fibers of muscle cells surrounded by protective tissue. It's a group of muscle tissue which contract together in order to produce a force. It uses ATP to contract and shorten. Inside of the bundle, you'll see individual fibers called myofibrils, and on the myofibril, there are individual parts called the sarcomere, which are the actual contractile units of the myofibril, and inside the myofibril, you see thick and thin filaments. These filaments work together in order to get a contraction. Let's start with the myosin. Myosin is a part of the thick filament and is bound to the M line. We also have actin, which is attached to the Z line on the outer sides of the sarcomere. And then actin and myosin work together in order to contract the sarcomere, which ultimately causes a huge contraction. So, the heads of the myosin binds into actin sites, and that forms a cross bridge. This starts to walk along. The cross bridge site, there's an ADP and PI molecule. They got knocked off by an ATP molecule or the myosin head. The ATP molecule allows for relaxation at the cross bridge, and the ADP and PI molecule allow for the active sites to be bound. This whole process creates the movement of the cross bridge. So as this is going on, we're gonna get calcium that's going to be floating around this actin and myosin sites. The calcium is gonna bind to a certain form of troponin, which is a protein on the active sense of the actin. The calcium will go bind to a troponin C. It's going to hop off, and these little ropes are gonna allow for the active sites to be open, and that rope is called the tropomyosin. Covers up the active site, which allow the myosin head to bind. So while this is happening at the neuromuscular junction, there is a nerve impulse that's coming down from the axon, and it will come into the cell or into the nerve ending and release the acetylcholine across a synaptic cleft into the receptors. Those receptors allow the action potential to go through, which releases a calcium across the sarcoplasmic reticulum into the muscular cells. The calcium moves down into the tropomyosin, and this allows the whole process to take place.
In summary, the sliding filament theory of muscle contraction can be broken down into 4 distinct stages. These are: the first one is muscle activation. Then motor nerves stimulate an action potential to pass on a neuron to the neuromuscular junction. These stimulate the sarcoplasmic reticulum to release the calcium into the muscle cell. The next one is muscle contraction. Calcium plugs into the muscle cell binding with troponin, allowing actin and myosin to bind. The actin and myosin cross bridges bind and contract using ATP as energy. ATP is an energy compound that all cells use to fuel their activity. Recharging is a third filament theory. ATP is resynthesized, allowing actin and myosin to maintain their strong binding state. And the last one is relaxation. Relaxation occurs when stimulation of the nerve stops. Calcium is then pumped back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum, breaking the link between actin and myosin. Actin and myosin return to their unbound state, causing the muscle to relax. Alternatively, relaxation will also occur when ATP is no longer available. In order for a skeletal muscle contraction to occur, first, there must be a neural stimulus. Second, there must be a calcium in the muscle cell. And lastly, ATP must be available for energy. So there are a few things that can stop a contraction, and these are: first is energy system fatigue. There is no more ATP left in the muscle cell, so it can keep contracting. The second one is nervous system fatigue. The nervous system is not able to create impulses sufficiently or quickly enough to maintain the stimulus and cause the calcium to release. Voluntary nervous system control is the third one. The nerve that tells the muscle to contract stops sending the signal because the brain tells it to. So no more calcium ions will enter the muscle cell and the contraction will stop. And the last one is sensory nervous system information. For example, a sensory neuron provides a feedback to the brain indicating a muscle is injured while you are trying to lift a heavy weight. And consequently, the impulse to the muscle telling it to contract is stopped.
Have you heard about it? People are kept alive and moving by three types of muscle tissue: the smooth, cardiac, and skeletal. Did you know that there are also muscle groups inside you? The chest, back, shoulders, arms, hip, legs, and abdominal. Let's talk about the muscles for the common body actions and the basis of its contraction and relaxation. Muscles can pull bones but can push them back into their zone. So they work in pairs of flexors and extensors. Ready? We gotta keep moving. 1, 2, 3, go! The chest or thorax is divided into two parts. The pectoralis major and the second one is minor. First one functions forearm flexion and adduction. Second functions forearm rotation away from posterior. Back is the most complex muscular structure. It has latissimus, dorsi, and trapezius. Shoulder has three parts, all important in our upper part: rhomboid, major deltoid, infraspinatus. Retracts plates in shoulder, looks like fleshy boulder. It secures a shoulder, keeping it in order. Arms has biceps brachii and also triceps brachii, but the forearm flexor is called brachialis gluteus maximus, extensor muscle of the hip. Gluteus medius connects, controls levels of the hips. On the back of the thigh, hamstrings flex the knee. It consists of three muscles as you can see: the biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus. The deeper still makes it hard to feel. The gastrocnemius helps us walk and stand. The soleus muscle underneath is really flat. The rectus abdominis will flex your spine. Internal and external obliques rotate so you can turn the other cheek. Did you know the general properties of muscle tissue? If you don't, let me tell that to you. Contractility, excitability, extensibility, elasticity. La 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 la. The muscular system's function is vital to all nation. Muscles that's inside our body when exercise will be healthy. La 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 la.